4, 3, 2, 1.
Studio Classroom is
Studio Classroom. Studio Classroom.
Please stand by.
Studio Classroom.
Studio Classroom is on the air.
Hey everyone, welcome to Studio Classroom on the air. This is the place to come when you want to have some fun. My name is Rebecca, and I know that your English will improve today. When I was younger, I was always intrigued by space, anything that involved space. Well, speaking of space, in today's lesson, we get to learn about a commercial business that is going boldly into space in a lesson called SpaceX. Are you excited about SpaceX? Do you know much about SpaceX? Well, if not, no worries, because you will definitely learn something today. Well, friends, I hope you have your magazines open because it's time for us to learn about SpaceX. Come with me.
SpaceX, a commercial business that is boldly going into space. Right now, a red Tesla convertible roadster is orbiting our solar system sun. It's been in space since February 2018, when the private company SpaceX launched its first flight of the New Falcon Heavy rocket with the car as its test payload. Launching a car into space might seem silly, but it was a major milestone in private spaceflight. For decades, space exploration was just in the hands of national space agencies. In the last few decades, however, private companies have begun to explore the value of commercial spaceflight.
Hello everyone, welcome to Language Lab. I'm Jack. 首先我们来看这篇文章的第一个重点 payload 这个名词。payload 是有效负荷，就是运输工具等的有效承载重量。例如 Be careful you don't put too heavy a payload on this trailer. 小心不要在拖车上放太重的承载负荷。或是This airplane can carry a payload of 600 kilogram. 这架飞机可以负荷600公斤的重量。继续我们看 milestone 这个名词。milestone 在本文中是指重大阶段、重大事件或转折点。例如 One's first job is a milestone for many people. 人生的第一份工作是许多人的重大事迹。Milestone 除了指无形的重大事件外，也指有形的里程碑。例如 As long as you look out for the milestones, you won't get lost. 只要你留意那些里程碑，你就不会迷路。
I'd love to go to space, but not at the price that it takes right now. Well, thank you very much, Jack and friends. My name is Gabe. I'm very happy to be here talking about a company that I have not done a lot of research about, but I know of Elon Musk and I know what he's created with Tesla and SpaceX, and I think he's making a lot of interesting contributions to the world of technology.
That's right, and we read at the beginning of our lesson here, a commercial business that is boldly going into space. Now we want to take a look at something here in this sentence, and that is the word commercial, and we want to compare that with the word private. Commercial versus private. Commercial just refers to or relates to goods that are produced and distributed in large quantities.
For sure. And maybe you've heard the phrase commercial jet, okay? If it's a commercial airline or a commercial jet or a commercial plane, that is a plane that you can buy a seat on. So it's not just taking goods or taking something from one place to another. It's not just one person, very important person, riding from one place to another. It's a commercial jet.
That's right. Whereas we have this word private. And of course, if something is private, like a private jet, it means it's not available for public use.
Yeah, so you could talk about an airplane. This is his private jet or his private plane. You could talk about someone whose property is private. Maybe there's a sign that says private property. The opposite of private property here is not commercial property. It's public property. If it's a library and something that everybody can use, that's public property. We wouldn't say commercial property.
Very good point, Gabe. Okay, well, the idea here, though, is that we have a commercial business, and this commercial business is boldly going into space. We read, right now, a red Tesla convertible roadster is orbiting our solar system's sun. And of course, if something is orbiting the sun, that just means that it's going around the sun.
And I think it's kind of fun and interesting that they've named this thing a roadster because it's not traveling on a road, it's traveling through space. It is going forward like a car might, but I might call this thing a space-ster. However, it is a roadster.
It's been in space since February 2018. When the private company SpaceX launched its first flight of the new Falcon Heavy rocket, with the car as its test payload. So it's been in space for about 2 years now.
Yeah, okay. So now, friends, you see, it is actually a car that is up in space. So this car is traveling around the sun. It's been up there for a while. How would you like to go up into space, Rebecca, in one of these rockets? Let's say that it was free for you to go.
Free for me to go to space.
Yes.
You know, I actually consider myself a very adventurous person, but I've actually never had a desire or interest in going to space.
Too far away?
You know, I don't like the idea of being in a rocket and being launched up into this unknown heaven area.
It's just nice looking at the stars, right?
I love looking at the stars. They're beautiful, but the idea of being in space where it's dark and there's no gravity.
Right, and you can't really control what's going to happen until you get back to the Earth, right? When things are back to normal. Friends, how do you feel about this? Would you like to travel to space? I know a lot of people would, but a lot of you might feel the same as Rebecca does. But we continue here. Launching a car into space might seem silly, but it was a major milestone in private space flight.
For decades, space exploration was just in the hands of national space agencies. And of course, there's that word decades again. We talked about that at one point in time this month.
That's right. And we also learned about something else in this sentence. We're talking about national space agencies. The first thing that comes to my mind is NASA, right? That's the biggest or most famous one. But there's another phrase we want to talk about here that's very useful and fun. In the hands of.
In the hands of, and that just means something is controlled or owned by someone. So it's not specified who owns it, but this is just what that refers to.
And you can use this phrase in kind of a fun way. It made me think of the Avengers movies, especially the last two, Infinity Wars and Endgame, because all the Avengers, all the superheroes, did not want the Infinity Stones to get into the hands of Thanos. It would be very dangerous if he got a hold of them, if he was in control of them, if they were in his hands.
Exactly. And so we know that for decades, space exploration was just in the hands of national space agencies. But in the last few decades, private companies have begun to explore the value of commercial space flight. So there's a change that's happening.
Yeah, I guess you're going to have a lot of money to get on one of those rockets, especially at first. But if you got the money, why not try it out? Hey, Rebecca, have you ever spaced out, like during class or during someone's long, boring speech? Or
Spaced out. That's a really good question. Perhaps I have at some point in time. But let's learn more about this phrase in the Info Cloud.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Info Cloud. Hey, Rex, what are you doing? We've started today's Info Cloud.
Oh, I'm sorry. I spaced out because of the medication I'm taking. I think my doctor gave me some strong medicine last night.
Oh, I'm sorry you're sick. Well, since you mentioned it, let's explain what space out means to our students.
Oh, this is the perfect time to teach that phrase. When a person is spaced out, it means their brain is not working, just like me a few moments ago.
This expression usually means someone is unfocused or distracted, making it difficult for them to think about or listen to something.
The person might be bored or allowing their mind to wander away from the topic at hand.
For example, when a student is not concentrating in class and just looking outside the window, the teacher may say, "Hey, John, stop spacing out. Pay attention."
When someone is spacing out, you can usually tell from their facial expression or they are slow in their response to you. Sorry about that, everyone.
Don't worry about it, Rex. I know you spaced out because of your medication and not because you were bored.
今天要跟大家介绍的这个用语 space out 意思其实很简单，形容一个人脑袋放空、不专心或魂游向外。Space 是空间 ，out 有跳脱的含义。Space out 就代表一个人的脑袋已经不太灵光，没有办法专注。原本有很多种，像是吃感冒药会想睡觉，天气太热很不舒服，或者是一个人本来漫不经心的个性，都有可能让一个人 space out。当学生在班上出现这种情况的时候，老师或许会说 ：“Stop spacing out, pay attention。”脑袋不要放空，专心好吗？这就是今天的 Info Cloud， 我们下次云端见。
Studio Classroom is on the air.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Studio Classroom, where we are learning about SpaceX. Now, of course, as a kid, whenever I heard the word space, I would get really excited because I love stars. I love looking at stars and planets. Now, of course, SpaceX is a little bit different, but we still have a lot more to learn about this idea of SpaceX, so let's get back to our lesson.
SpaceX. SpaceX is arguably the most successful of those businesses to date. In 2002, young visionary Elon Musk started the company because of his enthusiasm for space exploration. After an unsuccessful attempt at buying Russian rockets to help him send mice to Mars and back, the young multimillionaire made a surprising decision. He planned to build his own rockets at a fraction of the cost. Musk went to Southern California and started recruiting people to help bring his vision to life. In a remarkably short time, and despite some devastating setbacks, SpaceX launched Falcon 1, the first successful privately built liquid fuel rocket into orbit in 2008.
"接下来我们看 recruit 这个动词，意思是招聘、吸收新成员。例如 My boss expects me to recruit 20 more potential students by the end of the year. 我老板希望我在今年底前呢，能够招募20个有潜力的学生。Recruit 也可以当作名词，意思是新兵、新成员。例如 New recruits are always full of energy and fresh ideas. 新成员总是充满了活力和新鲜的点子。Recruit 后面呢加上 ment 就是名词 recruitment， 意思是招聘的过程。例如 Mary is in charge of recruitment at this location. Mary 负责这个地点的招聘工作。最后我们看 setback 这个名词 setback 在文章中是指挫败、障碍，经常会跟 suffer 或是 experience 一起使用。例如 Our project suffered a huge setback when the computer system crashed. 当电脑宕机时，我们的计划受到很大的阻碍。或是 I planned to save more money this year, but had a setback when my car broke. 我今年原本计划多存点钱，但是当车子发生故障时，就延迟了我的计划。Setback 也指人的逆境、不如意。Setbacks are part of life. They make us stronger. 逆境是人生的一部分，它让我们能够更坚强。Set something or someone back 是动词的用法，也有使某件事或某个人延后的意思。例如 The injuries set the athletes' preparation for the competition back 3 whole weeks. 这次的受伤使得这位运动员为比赛的准备延迟了3个星期。All right, let's get back to our teachers.
Thank you very much, Jack. Okay, let's get right into our lesson here. We read SpaceX is arguably the most successful of those businesses to date. Now, we want to take a look at something in this sentence, and that is the word arguably. Arguably can be used when you are stating an opinion or belief that you think can be shown to be true.
And it's usually followed by a superlative adjective and then a noun. So like it's arguably the most successful of these businesses to date, that is to today, right? Let's use this word arguably in another way. So today's test was arguably the hardest test I've ever taken. Ooh, this steakhouse is arguably the best. It has arguably the best steak of anywhere in this city.
And of course, we're talking about SpaceX and how it is arguably the most successful of those businesses. And what businesses are we talking about? Well, the private companies that have started to explore the value of commercial space flight. And we read, in 2002, young visionary Elon Musk started the company because of his enthusiasm for space exploration.
Pretty cool. I mean, he had an idea and he went and started a company and now it's huge. SpaceX, after an unsuccessful attempt at buying Russian rockets to help him send mice to Mars and back, the young multimillionaire made a surprising decision. So this guy has tried a lot of different things. Of course, when you're first starting to do something, you have to try different things to see what works. He tried to ask some groups of people for help, but they didn't respond, so he had to do something else.
He planned to build his own rockets at a fraction of the cost. Imagine that. His first plan failed, but that did not discourage him. He went to plan B, that is his second plan or backup plan, and that is he decided to build his own rockets at a fraction of the cost. Now let's take a look at this phrase, at a fraction of something. This just refers to a small part of something or just a small amount.
And I usually use this phrase when talking about the cost of something or the price of something. For example, recently my family and I went to spend some time with some friends over in Elon, and the B&B that they chose was very expensive. We ended up staying with everybody in the same place, a lot of different rooms, but we could have gotten our own B&B somewhere else for a fraction of the price. I believe it was 1/4 of the price. So we could have saved a lot of money, but that is just one way to use this phrase. We could also use it in talking about energy or time. We spent a fraction of the time that we would have otherwise.
Great examples, Gabe. Well, back to Elon Musk. We learned Musk went to Southern California and started recruiting people to help bring his vision to life. Now we want to take a look at this phrase, to bring to life or to bring something to life. This just means to actually make something more real or to make something actually happen.
Yeah, it kind of made me think of that phrase we talked about earlier this month, to make your dreams come true, right? Now we would use the adjective true when talking about dreams. You make your dreams come true. But when talking about a vision or an idea or something like that, you bring it to life. So with that song, start off with a clean slate. I wrote some of the words, but the musicians really helped to bring that song to life.
And we read here in a remarkably short time, and despite some devastating setbacks, SpaceX launched Falcon 1, the first successful privately built liquid fuel rocket into orbit in 2008. Now this is not Falcon 1, this is Falcon 9. But at least you have an idea of what it looks like.
All right. Well, like we learned about, he did appeal to the Russians for help. And today, in today's SC Travel, we're going to travel. Let's see where David takes us, okay? Let's right now go to the SC Travel.
Whatever yet, friends, I'm David Morton. There's a funny cartoon about a Russian doll who went to buy a train ticket. The agent replied, "Just one ticket? Really?" Get it? Russian dolls are classic, and they remind me that there are always smarter ways to pack your things. If you haven't guessed yet, for today's SC Travel, we are headed to Moscow. Russia is known for some remarkable architecture. St. Basil's Cathedral, built in 1561, is perhaps the most famous building in all of Moscow. All of those colors make it look like a building straight out of a children's cartoon, but it was actually just white and gold for the first 200 years. The other colors were added later, and they were inspired by the last book of the Christian Bible to give us a little taste of how colorful heaven will be. Right next door is the Moscow Kremlin, the oldest and largest fortress in Russia, and a great place to explore. Look at those white towers and golden onion-shaped domes. Perhaps that's what St. Basil's Cathedral used to look like. Speaking of onions, you're probably going to get hungry during your trip to Moscow. Well, thankfully, Russians love flavorful food. Try the Georgian dish Khinkali. Yes, it looks like some kind of Chinese xiaolongbao on the outside, but I can tell you the taste is unique, but still delicious. Khachapuri is a kind of bread heated up with the cheese on the inside and looks like quite a treat. I just want to tear off bits of that bread and dip it into the cheesy center. Oh, a perfect snack for a winter day. Each season has something different to offer. The Ussadba Jazz Festival, for example, takes place in the summer, and casually listening to some awesome tunes sounds like a great way to enjoy a summer day. If you're not sure where to travel next, maybe you can put this in your plans. See you next time, everybody. Do svidaniya.
Let's see, we have arguably, to bring to life, in the hands of. Well, these are just a few of the words that we talked about today. And of course, I would encourage you to take some time and create your own sentences and of course, practice using these words. Well, friends, thank you very much for joining us today. And we look forward to seeing you next time right here on Studio Classroom.
In my life, a good friend lasts a lifetime.